Hey guys, this is Bradley with Semantic Mastery, and today is Hump Day Hangouts Day. We are live now, having a little bit of technical difficulties on my end. My cable modem went down, well, the cable company went down altogether about 35 minutes ago, so I'm in my, trying to patch through on my mobile phone, my wireless phone, and so if it's a little bit choppy today, I apologize, but there's nothing else I can do. I kind of feel naked. I'm on my Chromebook, so, but I got several people on with me, and we've got a lot of questions to answer today, so I'm going to try to get through it just as quickly as we can, and also take any live questions. Hey, Adam and Marco, I've got the Q&A box open in my sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
If one of you guys can watch the events page, well, actually, you know what? I'm probably going to be on that anyways. I'll just have to toggle back and forth.
Yeah, I'll pull it up though in the background and let you know if I see anything.
Okay. Let me, you guys tell me if you're seeing my screen okay, because last week I had it locked on Brian, God bless him, for the whole week, the whole webinar. So hopefully you guys are seeing my screen okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
Michael is asking, he just posted a comment asking if it's starting. I'm not sure if he didn't get if the links got mixed up somehow.
It should be, it's showing live right here. You see that?
Yeah. Can you, well, let's see, where's the link for it? Let me grab.
I just posted it again.
Yeah, let me.
What I was going to say is you might want to open it up in another tab and hit play.
Okay.
See what it looks like. Make sure it's coming through okay. If you want, I can text you the link.
Yeah, if you don't mind doing that.
All right, just one moment. All right, I just IM'd it to you.
Gotcha. Thanks.
If you want to hit play and let me know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing.
Let's see. Yeah, I tried joining, and I'm not seeing video. Are you, bro? Okay, there we go. Yeah, looks like it's going now.
It's live. Are you seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're sure? All right. All right. Because I hate to have this be wrong again. Last week.
Yeah, it's a little weird with the delay, but yeah, it's we're on.
All right. All right. Well then, I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to start with the questions that came in early. So let me start. And you guys are seeing my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Adam, once the delay catches up, like in a minute or two, if you can just make sure that you're seeing my screen on that on the events page too, please.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep it up.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's see. The first question is, okay, Brian's question. Does adding a title at the top of your navigation bar called areas served with the counties listed and then all the cities listed with original content and each link help with SEO and ranking in Google? Or should that be hidden on the back end? Brian, can you elaborate or explain a little bit more about what it is that you're asking?
Well, yeah, basically, I'm trying to target the other counties and the major cities inside those counties.
Okay.
So I think I'm probably going to just, hide it where people can't see it and just, add pages.
That's not a good idea. So
okay.
I think I know what you're talking about, and what we'll do is I'll jump into my test site that I often use, and I'll show you a good way to set this up, the structure for that.
Okay.
You don't want to hide it because you don't want any hidden pages on your site. You want them to all be
not hide it, but not show it on the website, like say
right.
services served, as a navigation on the navigation bar.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I wouldn't put it on the navigation bar anyways because then it would give you a big drop down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that. So what I'll do is I'm going to set up because I know Fairfax County really well, I'm just going to use that as an example, if that's all right. But it should apply. The same structure will apply to you.
Okay.
Just using your, obviously, county and then cities within the county. So I'm going to add a page here, and I'm going to show you the proper way to structure this as far as like the silo setup for locations. And this works really, really well because this is how I typically build all my client sites and all my lead gen sites, is the exact same way I'm about to show you. So this would be a top level page. So Fairfax County. Now remember, your area served page, what I would do is I would have a button on the navigation bar that goes to an area served page. And on that page, then you would list all the counties, right, that you do the work in, or that you service. And then those counties would be clickable links that would take you to the top level page. So that the service area page is just a navigational page. It won't be part of the URL structure of the silo. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in here, and it's taking a minute because I'm on a wireless, but let's just say we'll do a couple of them in here. We'll say like Oakton, Vienna, McLean, and Great Falls. Those are 4 cities within Fairfax. Let me on a Chromebook too, which is weird. It's like so little. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this page first, and then we'll go take a look at it. You guys are seeing my screen, correct?
Looking good.
Okay, very good. If I ask several times, it's only because I don't want a mishap like we had last week. All right, so now if you take a look at the structure, the URL, Brian, so what I'm saying is like if you had a button up here that said service areas, you click on that, it's going to take you to the page that, so it would be baltimorecomputersolutions.net/service areas. But then it would list on there, say, Fairfax, in this case, in this example, Fairfax County, and then you could say, Prince William County, Loudoun County, those sort of things. Have a little blurb of text about the county itself. Will we service whatever, just a little, a small 2 or 3 sentence paragraph for each so that there's content on the page, and have it be clickable. And then when they click through, this would be the top level page at this point. Okay. So in this case, Fairfax County, and then these are, say, 4 of the cities or towns within the area that we would serve, or that I would service. So from there, I would end up adding a new page, and we're going to call this Oakton. And I would set as my parent page Fairfax County. Okay. And I'm going to hit publish.
Okay.
Now, I want to go back to my Fairfax County page, and I'm going to link that through. So that's right here. And you can see right here that it's got that little dash before it to show that it's a child page of Fairfax County. So I'm going to click edit there. And I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to link to Oakton. Click add link and update. Okay, so now when I refresh this page, now you'll see that Oakton is clickable. And if I click through, now you'll see in the URL structure Fairfax County /Oakton. See that?
Gotcha.
So essentially, this is what's called a physical silo structure, because you're actually building the structure with the URLs. It's physically visible here, right? The other way to do it would be what's called a virtual silo, but that's just using internal linking. It pretty much does the same thing, but I found a physical silo is a little bit more logical, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then, yeah, on those pages, like I said, those pages can essentially be, you want unique content. So that's why I suggested using videos last week. Even, Brian, you could do screencast videos just explaining the different services that you do, and you could even talk about, I did a job in, I did a job in this case, let's just say Oakton, and describe a little bit about it or whatever. You just want unique content on it. It's not really the point. It's not really the content that you care about on that page. It's the fact that you have the page so that you can rank it. Because
Sure.
all that people care about is clicking, going to Google, and finding the contact information and calling you.
Sure.
So that's why I said you want to try to put unique content on that page, and then if you use SpeechPad, which I told you about, that's what I use to get the transcriptions done, and it's like $1 per minute, so
Right.
it's dirt cheap. So that's what I would do. And then lastly, the thing is what you could do to improve the power of that even more so would be to create categories that match the slugs of these pages. Because remember, these are pages that we just created, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if I were to open this back up and I go up to posts and go to categories, now let's make sure I didn't already have that in there. All right, so I'm going to say Fairfax County. Click Add New Category. And then I'm going to type in, as a child category, I'm going to say Oakton. So now what I'm doing is I'm matching categories with the pages that I just created. All right, and so though they in WordPress you can share the same slug. It didn't used to be that way. You used to have needed a plugin to do it, but now you can share the same slug. So if you look right here where it says slug, you see that's the exact same slug as the pages, right? So now the next part is if you need to reinforce, like, so for example, this right here is a page, okay? This is the Oakton page. So I would put content on there, like I just talked about. But if you find that you're still having trouble ranking this page for whatever reason, which, you know, there's a chance that it's going to need, there's a good chance it's going to need some extra push. The next thing that you can do now that you have categories that are matching your pages is you can actually create posts, blog posts, and nest them within the Oakton category. So, and in each one of those blog posts, put a link from within the content up to this page. So to show you what that looks like, if I come over to posts and I go to Add New, and we'll just add one of, and you can get more specific. So essentially, like I know last week, let me go look at the page. I'll take a look at the image from last week. PC repair and networking, those are two. So we could actually say PC repair services and then over here in categories you'll see that we have Fairfax County and Oakton, right? So we're going to click Oakton here. We're going to click publish. And actually within the content, like I said, you would talk about, and let me just do this, talk about repair services in Oakton. And I spelled that wrong. All right, so from here what I would do is in your content, wherever you have a natural occurrence, and remember using stop words is important, because that's how people speak, right? But you want to make this as natural sounding as possible, and then you would link from there up to the page, which will show, say over here, page. You want to add that link and click update. And then if we go take a look at the post, now take a look at the URL structure. Fairfax County, Oakton, PC repair services, with an internal link that when clicked brings you back up to the Oakton page. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Why would you add a post over a page?
Well, because you can't go any deeper with pages, right? You've got a parent page and a child page. You can't go any deeper. So
Okay.
but with posts you can go one level deeper. So if I go back again, look at the URL structure. You see that?
Yeah, I see.
And so this is essentially if you need to boost the ranking power of Oakton, then you can do it by adding posts talking about specific services or specific jobs that you've done there. That's once again, one of the easiest ways to come up with content is to just talk about jobs that you've done in that area or whatever. And technically it doesn't even have to be a real job that you've done. I mean, it could be that you did somewhere else and you just say, hey, I did this in Oakton at that point. But the point is that each one of those posts that you create at this level would link back up to here. and that's going to reinforce that page. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right, I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, let me, how do I get out of this thing now? Right here. Okay, next question is transcriber software. I answered that. That's speechpad.com. Let's see. Marco says, I'm going to pose a question for our Hump Day Hangouts. Does a website that contains 100% unique content leave as big a footprint as one that has a bunch of crappy spun articles and thousands of spammy links? I'm not talking about one-offs. Instead, I am talking about websites in competitive niches. There are only so many ways to say weight loss, and you are bound to repeat something somebody else has already said. Wouldn't that be expected in these types of niches? Anyway, yeah, but the idea is, I mean, there's always going to be repeated phrases. It's interesting because in some of the more competitive niches, if you run an article through Copyscape, it still will find percentages of similar content. So the idea is, you know, not always, but the idea is to try to get them as unique as possible. And if you run it through Copyscape and it comes back, you know, I'd say anything under 20% similar, it's still okay. And the other thing is that's why I use curated content so much, which will answer one of Jaime's questions above, which I'll get to in a few minutes. But curated content, because you don't care about it using other people's content, and and just like you said, there's so much content out there in
Right.
competitive niches that you know, you're bound to repeat stuff. So why create another crappy article about the same niche when there's already hundreds of thousands of crappy articles about it, or even some decent articles that you could reference instead, you know? And so as long as you're giving attribution back to the source, then there's no reason why you can't use it. I use curated content even on my money sites, on the blog, not on the pages, but on the blog. So just like what I just showed Brian with the PC repair services as a post, right, that would be linking up to the pages would each have unique content. But the posts, if I referenced, for example, this is a good example here. There could be an article in one of the PC magazines, one of the tech magazines, about something in the tech world, or that has to do with PC repair or virus removal or something, and that could be all you need, Brian. You could quote that article in your blog post, and in fact, you could even copy a section of that article and post it in, and inject your opinion, add your own opinion. You could add to it, or you could say I disagree with that, or whatever. So essentially, you're letting that other content be the seed of your post, but you're referencing it, and then that way, again, there's no sense in coming up with all your own content. You can use other people's content as well. You just want to make sure that you put your own voice in it, because that's what adds uniqueness to it. So I hope that makes sense. Marco, you're still on. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Okay, Michael says, oh, this is a good one. I wanted to get to this from Michael. Why are links that are being created not showing up in Majestic? My current project, and he means Majestic SEO. My current project is mytaxback.com, and I have 27 active IFTTT wheels. Way to go, Michael. Running full throttle, including videos being posted to my main YouTube channel with backlinks to the site and full use of social media, including a Twitter army of 35,000 followers. Site is now ranking in some cases on page 2 of Google for long tail and short tail keywords, but nothing is showing up on any of my backlink profiles. One of my competitors, efile.com, has loads of backlinks, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. My domain authority is 7, and my page authority is 20, which is extremely low. All right. I'm going to answer all that question for you, Michael. But first thing about domain authority, yes, that is very low, and you need to get that boosted up. And I'll probably be showing you guys next week Michael, tomorrow during the members only webinar, I'll show you some stuff that I want to show. I might show it publicly next week, but tomorrow I can show you that if you want to talk about boosting page authority. I boosted a domain of mine recently, and I had my software manager who's running GSA do it, but we got it to 47 in 60 days. from 0. So pretty damn strong. And we can talk about that a little bit tomorrow. But for the for your links not showing up in Majestic, a lot of the times they're not, Michael. In fact, Majestic won't show a lot of weaker links unless you force them to crawl it. So one way that you can do it is you can collect all your links from your social media accounts. So, like, if you can extract the links from your RSS feed, from like your Blogger account, your Tumblr account, that sort of thing, and there's if you use Scrapebox, you can do it that way. I don't know if there's an online URL extractor from an RSS feed. I haven't found one, but if there is, if you find one, let me know. But essentially, you can take all of your all the links from your RSS feeds, which is where all your posts are, right? So your Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, Delicious, Digo, all of those that have RSS feeds, you can extract those URLs, so each post URL, and submit them directly to Majestic. And here, I'll pull that up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You can force Majestic to crawl them. And when that happens, then they'll start to show up in Majestic. But see, Majestic intentionally does not index in their own index, their internal index, which they show us. They don't show a lot of like Web 2.0 links unless you force them to do so. But if you're in Majestic and you go to Tools and you go to Link Map Tools right here, then you'll see URL Submitter. If you click here, right here, you can paste your URLs in and say Submit for crawling. And it will they'll start to show up on your backlink profile. But keep in mind that even though Majestic isn't showing them, Google is definitely seeing them. And to prove it, go to Google Webmaster Tools and then take a look at your backlink profile. Now, what I'm going to do is pause the screen for a moment. Tools, and I'll show you what I mean. Because just because Majestic doesn't show them doesn't mean they're not there. Trust me, Google is seeing them. Google's seeing all of them. And that's what's important. It doesn't matter that Majestic's seeing them. In fact, the fact that Majestic isn't seeing them is kind of nice, because if your competitors are doing backlink analysis, they're not going to see your thousands of Web 2 backlinks, right? So let me pull up one of my, let's see. Give me one moment, guys. I'm trying to pull up a site that I don't care so much about. Here, we'll look at this one. All right, so this is my video syndication site that I use for syndicating videos for local clients. Let me turn the screen back on one moment. Okay, you guys see my screen?
No.
You're not?
Nope, there we go. Just popped up.
Okay. All right, so in Google Webmaster Tools, if we go over to search traffic, links to your site, you'll see that this is showing 1,814 links, and if I click on more, here you go. Now take a look at this, Michael. WordPress, 397 links. Blogger, 290 links. Tumblr, 287 links. Digo, there's more than that. They just haven't been indexed apparently. But friend feed, you can see all the links here, right? So trust me, if you go look at your Google Webmaster Tools links to your site, right, you're going to see all of your links that you're building through your IFTTT networks are being indexed by Google. They're just not showing up in Majestic. Now, if you want to get them to show up, then you need to get an indexing service. The two that I recommend for that would be backlinksindexer.com. That's what I'm currently using. As in fact, there was if you guys are familiar with Zont SEO, Zont SEO is the company that does all the training for SE Nuke. And they did a study on like 8 or 10 different backlink indexing services, and they ran the test for like 4 months. And after Penguin 3.0, backlink indexers skyrocketed all their indexing rates, and it's about the best right now. And that's one source that you can use. Another one is an older one of the oldest indexing services called Linklicious. It's linklicious.co. But they've actually updated recently, and now they're called like Linklicious 2.0. And here, I'll open that up. And they actually have a specific checkbox. You have to have a pro account though, but I'll show you that it's for getting stuff to index in. Let's see, upload links. I'll show you right here. Improve indexing at Majestic and Ahrefs. You see that? So this is linklicious.co, and I use both. I use actually like 4 different indexing services, but this will help if you post links in there. But again, personally, I think the best right now is Backlink's Indexer, and they've got several different levels of packages that you can try there. And by the way, Michael, hit me up privately when the webinar's done, because I've got a coupon. I don't know if it still works, but I've got a coupon that gives 50% off their monthly rate recurring. I don't know if it still works because it was a limited time coupon, but I'll try to dig it up for you if you're interested, and that's for Backlink's Indexer. All right, but that's going to help too. But again, as long as Google's seeing them, what difference does it make if Majestic's seeing them? Other than you'd want to be able to show your clients, but you can show your clients this, screenshots of Webmaster Tools. Does that make sense? Okay. And you're not going to see Twitter links, by the way, because tweets don't get indexed. Profiles do, but not the tweets themselves. Yeah, and then lastly on that, because it's already 4:30 and I've still got a bunch of questions to get through, there's a plugin that I'm using that will do this automatically, Michael. I can't say enough good things about this plugin, only for this one function. And because I don't use it for anything else other than this one function, but it's by Sean Donahoe, and it's called Backlink Commando. I think it's backlinkcommando.com. You'll go to the sales page, and it's like, I don't know, $47 for the plugin, and then there's or maybe even like $27, and then there's an upsell to get like a developer's license, so you can use it on unlimited sites. So I think it's for like $90 in total. It comes out that you can get. Let's just see. It's Backlink Commando. I think .com. Yeah, this is it. This plugin here, it's got it will integrate. Let me pause that. Sorry about that. It will integrate with backlink services like backlinks backlink indexing, whatever, the one that I was just talking about, and Linklicious. It'll integrate with that as well. And let's see. I think it's $27. Yeah, it's $27 on the front end, and then the upsell is the developer's license, and it's like $67 for that. It's totally worth it though, especially if you're doing a bunch of sites, because what I do, and I could probably show you, because I think this is important, and I use this for automatically doing all this instead of you having to manually go scrape all the links out of your Web 2.0s and then manually submit them. VAG Hangouts, look at that. Moment. Shit. So instead of having to do this manually, this will do this automatically, and I'll show you what it looks like, because it's totally worth it in my opinion, because the amount of time it saves you. Plus, it just makes all your IFTTT wheels so much stronger, because you're basically forcing Google to index the Web 2.0 links. So you'll see I got Backlink Commando right here, and if we go to the general settings, I'll show you what it looks like. I need to get an affiliate agreement with this guy because I'm promoting this plugin, but it really is a good plugin. You've got to set up a cron job, and then it will automatically crawl it based on the settings that you provide. Like, for example, I have it pull it basically will submit 3 links from the queue every however often I have it set up in cron jobs, which I always use an external cron for that, but I think I've got this one running every 2 hours, so it'll essentially do 36 links per day. But what I wanted to show you was third-party integrations. Here is where you would integrate a backlink indexing service. In this case, I've got Backlink Indexer right there, and I've got that turned on. And then in RSS, this is where it's cool. You take all the RSS feeds. Take a look at this. These are all the RSS feeds from the networks that I'm using to syndicate content to, right? And you see how many RSS feeds I got there, coming from WordPress, Blogspot, Tumblr, Delicious, Digo, Instapaper, Gitpocket, App.net, G+ feeds, All of those are feeds that I've got in here, and then what happens is, if I go hit process queue, you'll see what it looks like. If I hit this button, and this is what the cron job will do automatically. So you set it up once, and it'll do this at whatever interval you set over and over and over again, and then it will submit the URLs that it extracts from the RSS feed to the indexing services, all on autopilot. So it's totally worth it for automating, your indexing without it being such a manual process, especially when you're using multiple IFTTT syndication networks. Then this is a great way to automate it. And for whatever reason, it's going to be slow, so I'm not going to sit there and wait for it. If it comes back, I'll show you. All right, I got to move on. Let's see. Jonathan asks, do you share your strategy? Will I share on my strategies on Socisynd and Syndwire? Yeah, I can. I'll probably wait and do that during the members-only webinar tomorrow. And part of the reason I say that is because I'm not at my desktop where I can show you guys how it works and everything. I'm on my Chromebook where I don't have it. By the way, just to jump back over here for a moment, take a look at this, Michael. It's showing that pending links, adding pending links to possible process queue, and it found 335 links right now from my networks, my syndication wheels. And now if we take a look, if I go back over to manage backlinks, it's going to show all the links right here that it's pulled, and it says pending. So these are all going to be submitted based on, it'll pull 3 links every time the cron runs, and it will submit each one of these links to the indexing services, and it does that all on autopilot. So I hope that makes sense. Didn't want to spend too much time on that. So anyways, back to this. Jonathan, yeah, I know he's going to watch the replay, but I'll have to talk about that during the members-only webinar because we don't have enough time right now today. BJ asks, I created an RSS so all new posts on a site, WordPress site, are syndicated to my Web 2.0 accounts. Is this considered duplicate content? No, BJ, not if it's a branded network. So if you have created your Web 2.0 sites that are basically an extension of your website brand, so whatever your brand is for your website, what I would do is set up, let's just say it's your brand is the name of your site, your brand, right? Then what I would do is yourbrand.wordpress.com, yourbrand.blogspot.com, yourbrand.tumblr.com, and I would use the same graphics to brand it so that it's all those sites are themed, and then you're just basically announcing your content from your main blog across those. So you're just republishing. Now think about this: when people share articles via Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and even Google Plus, they're sharing the same article, right? It doesn't get spun. It's not unique content. They're grabbing it and they're sharing it, and it's the same content with a link back to where it came from, right? That's the attribution link. So as long as you're attributing to the source, and remember, you're not trying to hide the fact that this is coming from your own site. If you are trying to hide it, that's what's going to get you into trouble. So if you don't have an attribution link, then that could be duplicate content. And also, if you are spinning it or whatever, then that's going to end up getting you in trouble because that's crappy content and it will be able to get found. Google can see that kind of stuff now, especially on Tier 1. Out of like Tier 3, Tier 4, then that's okay, but I would not go any closer than 2 hops away from my site with a bunch of spun stuff. All right. Now, if you're using like a bunch of persona accounts and things like that, then I would not post directly to those unless you were mixing in other content as well, which in that case would be like curated, even if the posts themselves weren't curated, as long as you were, I would suggest that if you were posting to persona accounts, that in the same post you would have multiple content sources. So that's a true curated post. Even if it's automated, it's still a curated post. But if you were going to post just your post on that site, then the next best thing would be to also have other content sources posting to those sites as well. Even though they wouldn't be in the same post mixed content, it would still be less of a footprint that way. So I don't suggest that personally. I would suggest that if you're going to be posting to persona accounts, that you do curated posts where you can then use portions of your posts from your main site as part of the curated posts, if that makes sense. So that's typically, guys, why I don't do automated, besides my IFTTT network, the branded network for my main money site. I don't do automated posting to my tier 1 links at all. I do manual curated postings. And there are some automated curators that will do good stuff. In fact, Adam's going to be doing a review on one of them for us within, I don't know, the next week or so. Adam, can you chime in on that for a minute?
Yeah, definitely. Curation Suite is one that combined with something like main WP for managing a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, that's a good one to use, and just going through, and it allows you to manually do it, but in a very, very fast manner.
Right, and that's Curation Suite.
Mm-hmm.
The closest thing that I will use to an automated curator on tier 1 links would be WPRSS Curator. I haven't used what Adam's used yet, but I've used Peter Garrity's plugin, WPRSS Curator, which is a really good plugin. It's and if I was going to do automated tier 1 posts, I would use that. But again, I don't even do that anymore. I do manual curated posts. Not me personally. I have my outsourcers do that. No, if you're only managing one site or a couple sites, you could do it on your own very quickly, especially with something like what Adam's talking about. Okay. All right, we're at 4:38, and I've still got another question from Michael, and then a long laundry list of questions from Jaime, which we'll get to some of those. Michael Bose asked about. Let's see. Sorry, I just got distracted. Alpha Rain blog. By the way, Michael, I took a look at this earlier, and oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, your client is way over optimizing the blog. It's ridiculous. And I mean, like, if this isn't plainly apparent to anybody, then he probably shouldn't be blogging. I don't mean to sound like a dick. I'm just saying, like, when it's this bad, he shouldn't be doing it. Period. Look at the title, Metal Roofing Wolf Trap VA. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Adam has to jump, so. Okay, Adam, no problem. Mark, any other questions that come up? Let's see, it's being slow. Okay, so the title is the exact match keyword, and it's not natural sounding at all. Okay. And then look at this. I mean, if you take a count in here, how many times it says Metal Roofing Wolf Trap VA, which is not natural language patterns, it's really bad. And then he says, like, please take a look at our video titled Metal Roofing Wolf Trap VA. Metal Roofing Wolf Trap VA. You know, it just, and then here's, thanks for reading Metal Roofing Wolf Trap VA. Alpha Rain Metal Roofing Business Online, Metal Roofing Wolf Trap VA. And it's just, it's insane. And if you actually go over and take a look at, let's go just quickly run through this, but if you go take a look at SEO Centro, which we did this last week or a couple weeks ago with Brian's site, so you ought to be familiar with this. But, you know, this is something, Michael, that you could point out to him. If he insists on blogging, tell him to stop spamming his own site, because that's what he's doing. And, I mean, it's the type of SEO that this guy's doing is what worked in 2005. This is 2015 almost. So this is like, oh, just, you know, Google's not dumb anymore. The algorithm is way more sophisticated, and now when you hit it over the head with exact match keywords that aren't natural language pattern, you're just asking for trouble. So, but let me grab this URL and we'll take a look at this real quick, because I want you to see. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago with Brian's site. And oh, by the way, Brian, are you still on? Is Brian still on?
Yep.
Hey, can you comment real quick about what you sent me? You sent me a message the other day about your site. Can you tell everybody?
Yeah. Well, I made a couple changes that Brad suggested, and I'm ranked number 4. Went from like 11 or 8 to 4 in probably about 3 days.
Yeah. And that was from de-optimizing your page a bit, right?
De-optimizing, adding some links, yeah.
There you go. So, all right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Sure.
So, Michael, when it comes to this, SEOcentro.com, use the keyword density over here, the keyword density tool, and tell your guy, and you should be doing this for your own stuff too. When you create a post or a page on the site, enter the URL, and analyze the page. And take a look at this. For singular terms, you should never be above 2%. I mean, it's okay occasionally, depending on the circumstance, but the rule of thumb is to stay for any singular term under 2%. And you can see metal and roofing and VA and roof are all above. They're all exceeded that threshold. And metal being 5.82% is insanely high. Okay, and if we scroll down and we'll go down to the two-word terms, metal roofing is 3.85%. That should never be, a two-word term should never be more than 1%. Okay, and so you can see that we've got that phrase is way over the threshold, and then you've got trap VA, wolf trap, and roofing wolf. Like all of those right there are over and above the threshold. And then lastly, we'll scroll down and look at the three-word terms. So make a note of this, guys. Singular terms 2%, two-word terms 1%, and three-word phrases 0.2%. That's the threshold. Now, again, there's going to be times where it's, if you've got little bit of content on the page, so if you've got, let's say you got a 500-word article on the page, or a blog post is 500 words, then it's going to be, you're going to trip these thresholds a lot quicker than if you have 1,000 word, right? Because it's density. So just keep that in mind. One way that you can fix this stuff, well, first of all, take all the spam terms out because you spam that post to death. But number two, add more content, right? But if you take a look, three-word phrases are not supposed to be above 0.2. And take a look at this. 1.3%, 1.2, 1.2, 0.85, so like there's a lot that can be done here. Now down here where he's got the occurrence is 3 times and it's at 0.28. That's reasonable. That's okay. It's above the 0.2, but it's not much. So that's reasonable. But when you're talking about metal roofing wolf right here is 1.2%, that's way over. So I hope that makes sense. But if you just tell your client that if he's going to be posting on his blog post to just make sure that he does not optimize, that he stays within those thresholds, number one, and number two, to always write in natural language patterns. Do not stuff like this with metal roofing, wolf trap, VA. People don't talk that way, so don't post that way, or don't put your keywords in your post that way. The URL can be that. That's fine, and the SEO title. Right, so that you set in your plugin, whether it's Yoast or whatever the plugin is that you're using for SEO, the SEO title can be that too. But the page title and any occurrence of your keywords in the content itself should be natural language patterns. All right. Okay. All right, 4:45. We're way over. I'm going to run through a couple of these quickly because Jaime I can answer most of these in the members only webinar tomorrow. So let me just see if there's anything that I want to talk about publicly. How do we change our name servers in HostGator? I don't know why you'd want to. So we can go over that a little bit more tomorrow. But I don't know why you'd want to. HostGator is a standard shared hosting account. Like if you're using HostGator for PBNs, you're on the same IP anyways. And if you're using HostGator like reseller, I don't even know that they offer different IPs, but if they do, I don't know why I'd be using HostGator at all, period, to be honest with you. But I don't know how to change SOAs and things like that because I don't deal with HostGator. I just haven't in 5 years. So do we need Socisynd or Syndwire? No, you don't need it, but it helps to always have supplemental varieties. Which is better to use Socisynd or Syndwire? It depends. They do different things, but Socisynd is more automated. Syndwire is more for, I use Syndwire for boosting things that I've already syndicated. What is the difference between Syndwire and Hootsuite? There's a big difference there. Syndwire is a Web 2.0 posting application, and Hootsuite basically is just for posting content across your main social media accounts, which would be Google+, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And that's pretty much it. It doesn't post to anything else. Can we use Socisynd on our PBN as well? Yeah, of course, for our PBN as well. I don't know whether you mean building links to the PBNs, which, yeah, always do that. That's how you keep the power on your PBNs, is to continually build links to them. So absolutely. And I suggest that anybody using PBNs should be like setting up GSA campaigns and FCS, any whatever kind of link building tools you have, you should be building links to your PBNs because it keeps the juice flowing to your PBNs. Otherwise, they lose power over time. And also, Google will discount them if all of a sudden they stop collecting links, and that's absolutely true. So you should always be building links to your PBNs. How can Socisynd help us increase ranking because we are thinking of getting this instead? I prefer Socisynd over Syndwire only because it's more automated. We'll go into that more in depth tomorrow when I'm at my desktop. What other steps can you recommend to help boost our rankings? Press releases. Press releases are a great way to get high-powered media links, and dozens of them. Just do not use exact match anchor text in press releases, and if you are going to, then make sure they're no follows. The links are no followed. It's okay, guys. No followed links doesn't matter if you hit your site with 100% exact match anchor text. If they're no followed, it will not hurt you. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you're going to be using exact match anchor, I don't suggest it. When I'm using press releases, I do brand anchors, and I also do naked URLs. And if I'm going to use keywords at all as part of the link, then I do it no follow. And in fact, most press release distribution companies will automatically no follow the links anyways. So depends on who you're with. I use newswire.net, and but there's a ton of them out there. SBWire is a good one. But yeah, those without a doubt are really, really good ways to get additional links. Also doing video stuff, syndicating videos, doing that, domain authority stacking, that type of stuff like that. Work Empire teaches it. It's very similar to what we do with the IFTTT sites. Last week we had when we had the long public webinar before Thanksgiving, I put a list of their high domain authority sites in there. That's always a good thing to do, is just create accounts there and post your links. Do you recommend that we continue to post to our PBN sites weekly? It depends. Depends on how aggressive you're trying to be, and that really depends. So I'm not going to be able to answer that entirely today. Is it still okay to use curated content on our PBN sites? I use curated content for everything. So I absolutely say yes. In fact, again, why write a crappy article that is hard to read when you could use other people's articles that are good articles and just inject an opinion instead? And then you're also borrowing the authority of those pages. In fact, I know I've talked about this before, but if you check out buzzsumo.com, you can find articles that are very, very highly socially active, and use those articles as curated posts because they have so much social activity. Can that be considered spam in Google's eyes? If you take a post, an article that has thousands of Facebook likes, thousands of tweets, hundreds of plus ones, and you mention it in an article on your PBN site, is that a spam post? I doubt it, because all those other people would be considered spamming too as well that have shared it, right? So that's why I suggest using articles that have a lot of social activity in all your curated stuff. Okay. And how do we maximize our PBNs to increase our rankings? Well, I just mentioned that. Number one, theme them, because if you have themed PBNs, right, so they're all about a specific topic, they don't have to be too niched or too narrow. In other words, you don't have to have a plumbing blog for just plumbers. You could have a home improvement blog as a PBN. It would cover plumbers and carpenters and electricians and HVAC and landscapers and all of that. That's niched enough. But that's going to be a much more powerful post than a post coming from a general blog that has a post about insurance, a post about banking, a post about hairdressers or barbers, So number one, themed PBNs. Number two, continually build links to those. Fake social signals if you have to. And if you're setting up IFTTT networks for your PBNs, you're going to get part of that's going to be completed for you every time you make a post on the PBN, right? Because you're getting that first initial blast of Web 2.0 links, plus social links and everything else. But continually build links to those PBNs to boost the page authority, and that's going to help too. So I'll answer the rest of these tomorrow. Did anything come through on the side?
No, I don't see anything.
Okay. Let's see. Who was asking about IFTTT?
Wait a minute.
I see a couple questions in
Jim
here.
Yeah, I see Jim. He asked, how powerful is it to use IFTTT? I think he meant IFTTT.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Jim. Jim's a newcomer. Cool. Him and I have been chatting in one of Peter Garrity's groups. So welcome, Jim. We do this every week, man. I hope you can attend more often. IFTTT, Jim. I got to be honest with you. It's the very foundation of my business and what we teach at Semantic Mastery. I've been using IFTTT for about 2.5 years now. Entirely, it is the foundation of what I do in my business for all my SEO and all my SEO clients. It works for video syndication. That works for video SEO. It's absolutely fabulous for that. You can rank local videos in a matter of minutes on page 1 using IFTTT networks. I also use it for my blogs, which we discussed several times today. I know you're part of Peter Garrity's group, so you, I'm sure, have all the same suite of tools. I know you do because you're in the P1 Port Mastermind as well. I use Peter Garrity's tools also, but I use them as a supplemental to my IFTTT network. So I use them both in conjunction, to be honest with you. But again, IFTTT is a free alternative to spending thousands of dollars on the suite of tools that Peter Garrity. By no means am I saying anything bad about Peter Garrity stuff, because I truly think he's one of the best in the business. But I'm saying that this is what we teach with IFTTT networks is incredibly powerful. And it does the same thing, and there's no cost to it other than time or paying an outsourcer to do it for you, which is what I always suggest. Okay. What about using Peter Garrity's new P1 ranker for links? P1 ranker, I don't think that's just for indexing. Am I right? I believe all that does is indexing or rank tracking. Michael, if you're still on. I know I was just on a Peter Garrity webinar earlier today where he was discussing all the new tools that are part of P1 Port Premium, and this is not a Peter Garrity sales pitch, but I have bought into a lot of his stuff, and I think P1 Ranker is just a rank tracker, and it might be an indexer too. I know he's got that integrated in with some of his tools now too, but if you don't have his tools, then you just need to do it. Like I said, that what I showed you earlier with Sean Donahoe's plugin, Backlink Commando, it will automate all your indexing for your Web 2s. That's why I highly recommend it, Michael, especially right now with how many wheels you've got. Backlink indexer. Yeah, Jim, I talked about that earlier. I don't know if you saw that. If not, you can catch the replay. Backlink's indexer is what I'm using. I use that, and I actually use like 4 of them, but the 2 that are probably the best in my opinion are Backlink's indexer and linklicious.co. Another one is 1 hour indexing, which is also by the same company as linklicious.co. It's 1hourindexing.co, I believe, is the address. And that one's good too. It's really expensive though. How do I boost domain authority? Michael, I'll have to talk about that during the private webinar tomorrow because it's some kind of dark hat stuff. So, let's see. So all the links from my Majestic. Yeah, Michael, when you're asking about posting the links to submitting them to Majestic for crawling, again, it's entirely up to you. If you want to see them in the Majestic report, then you can do that. However, like I said, that means everybody else that's doing research on your site, your competitors, they're going to see them too. So as long as you see them in Google Webmaster Tools, they're there. Trust me. I would suggest not doing that in a competitive niche. If you're not worried about what your competitors see, then yeah, by all means you can do that. I do have, BJ says he does have other RSS feeds feeding into his Web 2.0 accounts. Very good, BJ. That's the way to do it, man. Let's see. And it looks like that was it. You guys could all see my screen during this event, correct? Because I see Scott saying all he could see was Brian, so I just want to make sure that we didn't do it again. So, all right, well, it looks like that's it. I don't see anything else. Marco, you don't see anything else on the events page, do you?
No.
Guys, we went an hour today. You lucked out. But I appreciate everybody being here, and keep up the good questions, guys. That's exactly what we're looking for. I'm hoping that helps. We have our members-only webinar tomorrow, Semantic Mastery. If you're not part of our membership site yet or our membership community, by all means, just check us out. I do bi-weekly webinars where we do an hour and a half, sometimes go 2 hours, and we talk about a lot of other stuff that I cannot share publicly. but I also show case studies, a lot of my own client stuff I share within the group to show exactly what it is that is working and that's making me money that I could share with you guys as well. Plus, we have a ton of archived webinars and additional training courses like the IFTTT program that you get included with the with the Semantic Mastery membership, and some of our members can vouch for the kind of content that you get inside the group. So, by all means, if you're not a member yet, please join us. If not, that's fine. Come join us back again next week because Hump Day Hangouts is free, and I enjoy answering your questions. So keep them posted. When I post the new event page for next week, please feel free to add your questions to the events page ahead of time, because that way it gives me a little bit of time to prepare for them, and it also ensures that your questions get answered. Okay. So I appreciate everybody being here, and we will see you all next week.